Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Alien Protocols. Tonight I'd like to talk with you guys about something new that I did, and the outcome was really great, and I'm not bragging. It's a new aspect of psi that I haven't really gotten into on this channel before, and I think it's important to talk about, but more importantly, I think I oftentimes neglect talking about methods, how I do this stuff and what's going through my mind and what has been some of my training on this stuff. And I think that the most core attribute that puts all the pieces together really is empathy. And of course, very importantly, going to that place of stillness, finding that place of emptiness, stillness of nothingness, and then letting the gestalt come to me, not going and chasing it. Anyway, recently one of our viewers, I guess I can say his name. Yeah, I can. Mickle and a Pickle is his name. And he sent us a email asking about a relative who had passed. And it was, I believe, like his aunt's father. I can't remember exactly, but it was someone's father who was very dear to the family, of course. And they had gone to see a professional psychic who does readings of people who had passed, and he does psychometry, which is ESP with items. He'll take the items and give you readings and stuff. So apparently this was a big event, and it was in Australia. So they went there with the item, and they didn't tell me what the item was, and they had a failure. Something happened where either he did a reading and it didn't work, or he didn't pick them or something. Anyway, in the email, as I was reading it, I instantly got a series of gestalts. And the gestalts were of the item, what the item was, and of the person. And so I said, I don't want to be too forward, but do you mind if I, blah, blah, blah. This is a very sacred space, and I really appreciate that Mickle is allowing us into this sacred space. And, of course, that he trusted me and Super Sleuth as well into this sacred space. And anyway, I had an incredibly accurate reading. The object, I guessed, had two different materials. It was dented and had a series of holes in it, and just many things about it, and it ended up being a harmonica. It was a very good description of a harmonica. Then, in terms of discussing him, I talked about how he missed his girls so much and just adored his girls, and I was never told that he had two daughters, and I noticed that I had done that. And that he had a female dog that he used to joke with that, it's all women in this house, when he was playing with the dog. And yes, they did have a dog, and it was a female corgi, and yes, he was like that. Also that he had a cereal obsession, and he did have a cereal obsession, that he had country smarts, and yes, he did have a country smarts. He came from the country, and a public job, and he had a public service job. And I mean, it was just such a great reading, and I felt oftentimes, like I do for a location, just such an understanding of this person, and like I knew him from being places before in my life, but it was really all coming from that moment. And I realized this is something I could try to do in the future for people, but it's such a delicate area, it's such a precious space, people's feelings and emotions, and I would never want to hurt anybody or do anything wrong, and so it was very brave of me to come out, and it was such a stunningly accurate reading. We were really proud and happy. And so Mickle did a testimonial for us. And I will put a link to it down there so you can see the testimonial from Mickle. But I'd like to explain to you guys my methodology, what was going through my mind as I do any of these readings, really. Any of them where I have to view anything, I go to that place of stillness. And you can practice and work on it by things as simple as Russell Targ's game, the ESP trainer, which can teach you to find the place of stillness and go with the most subconscious choice. And I do a lot of meditating, and so, of course, getting to a place of real blankness, stillness, is not too difficult for me. And the information just comes then. It just gestalts in, and you just have to trust it. And that's the same exact with this situation. And I have a feeling, I don't know what it does to my feelings about life after death and all that stuff, but I am getting kind of a sensation of active consciousness still. So it's pretty exciting and interesting, and I just wanted to thank Mikkel for his testimonial and for letting us into that precious space. And it was really cool to have such a accurate reading, and I want you guys to try that. Try to get to that space of blankness. Practice it in your meditations, and then let the gestalts come and see how accurate they are. Much love, guys.